Apple reveals leap-forward iPhone X. Apple reveals leap-forward iPhone X. Image copyright. Apple image caption. The new handset uses facial recognition technology to let users unlock the phone and buy goods. Apple has revealed a high-end smartphone with an edge-to-edge screen that has no physical home button. The iPhone X, which is referred to as 10, uses a facial recognition system to recognize its owner rather than a fingerprint-based one. Apple said Face ID could work in the dark by using 30,000 infrared dots to check an identity, and was harder to fool than its old TouchID system. It is Apple's most expensive phone yet. A 64GB capacity model will cost $999, £999 in the UK, when it goes on sale on 3 November. A 256GB version will be priced at $1,149, £1,149 in the UK. By contrast, Samsung is charging $930, £869 in the UK, for its new Note 8 phone, which has 64GB of storage. Manufacturer handset shipments year-on-year change. Market share at end of June-July 2016. June 2017 Samsung 313.5 million minus 3,230 Apple 215.6 million plus 0.5 11.8 Huawei 152.1 million plus 26.4 11.1 Oppo 111.2 million plus 62.9 8.1 Vivo 86.1 million plus 60.3 6.1 Xiaomi 640 million plus 2.86 6.1 LG 560 million minus 2.6 3.8 Lenovo 51.7 million minus 15.2 3.2 Source, IDC. The iPhone X is a long-term investment by Apple that sets a template for the next generation of iPhone hardware, commented Jeff Blaber from the CCS Insight Consultancy. An OLED, organic light-emitting diode, display in the new design is likely to be standard on future iPhone models, but Apple must first tackle the challenge of obtaining sufficient supplies. Another expert commented that Apple's ability to get consumers to spend more on its smartphones than rivals was legendary. There may be an element of high pricing to constrain demand and make things match up with how many they can produce, said Neil Malston from Strategy Analytics. But I suspect Apple always had a $1,000 iPhone in mind. We had seen the price creep up year after year, and there's a lot of pressure from shareholders for the company to hit a $1 trillion valuation. Bumping up the prices on their number one product is one way of doing that. Facial recognition. Apple acknowledged that users might have concerns about using facial recognition to verify purchases via Apple Pay or to access their device. Image copyright. Apple image caption. Apple said it used a range of technologies to ensure its Face ID system was accurate, but it claimed that while there was a 1 in 50,000 chance that Touch ID could be unlocked by a random stranger, the odds rose to 1 in 1 million with Face ID. Nevertheless, one expert said users might still be concerned the handset had no fingerprint sensor as an alternative. This is the steepest hurdle that they have, commented Carolina Milanesi from Creative Strategies. A lot of consumers will be a little bit reluctant to use facial recognition as an ID system until Apple has proven that it is safe and works all the time. In the eyes of consumers, Touch ID wasn't broken, so they may ask why Apple is trying to fix it. Other features announced about the handset included, analysis. Image copyright. Reuters by Dave Lee, North America technology correspondent. It's the big leap that iPhone fans, and Wall Street, had been demanding. The iPhone X brings together many features we'd been expecting, such as Face ID for unlocking the phone, and animated emojis, that look fun to play with, if not a killer feature that will have people running to stores. Image copyright Reuters image caption. The iPhone X uses its face mapping sensors to let users control the facial expressions of new emojis. All this won't come cheap, at $999, plus it's the most expensive iPhone to date. Apple is often accused of being slow to new tech, and I think that criticism will continue. Wireless charging comes years after Samsung first introduced it, for example, and the overall look of the phone, which no longer has the iconic home button, looks strikingly similar to the latest Samsung Galaxy Note. The phone was unveiled in the new Steve Jobs Theater, a purpose-built venue for such launches. A beautiful, comfy building, with marble everywhere, it sits alongside Apple's striking new spaceship campus. This is the house that iPhone built, with a decade of phenomenal success. Does iPhone X herald another great era? The audience here cheered, but didn't stand, with applause. I'm reserving my judgment until I've tried it. The iPhone X also adds support for wireless charging. Apple chose Qi wireless charging, noted Ian Fogg, from the IHS Markit consultancy. It was the right decision to use a standard because Apple users will benefit from widely available charge pads. The feature was also introduced to the new iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus models, which were introduced earlier at the event. Image copyright Apple. The lower-end devices are distinguished from their predecessors by having the new models coincide with the release of iOS 11, the latest version of Apple's mobile operating system. It introduces ARKit, software development tools that make it easier for developers to add augmented reality features to their apps, in which graphics are mixed together with real-world views. Click to see content. iPhone_increase marketing chief Phil Schiller showed off one app that showed real-time stats about a sports match that could be seen over the action by spectators at a game. Another demo involved The Machines, a multiplayer robot battle game that can be played over views of close-by tabletops and other surfaces. Image caption. The launch is being held in the Steve Jobs Theater at Apple's new campus. The facility will not work on the iPhone 6 or older devices, so may provide a means to convince owners of aging Apple kit to upgrade. When Apple first introduced the iPhone, users were unsure about how touchscreens would benefit them, but now we know that they're a great way to use a device, said Brian Blau, a tech industry analyst at Gartner. The same thing will happen with augmented reality. It's as important as touch, if not more. Developers have new opportunities and I think they will embrace them. But just as with touch it took them years to perfect those experiences, I also think that will also happen with AR. Media playback is unsupported on your device. Media caption. Watch, what can AR do on iPhone? Earlier Apple unveiled a version of its smartwatch with its own 4G link. The innovation means that the Watch Series 3 can receive phone calls, access internet services and stream music without being linked to an iPhone. Apple recently overtook Fitbit to become the world's joint top wearable tech maker alongside Xiaomi, according to one study. Image caption. The new watch has a red crown to denote its 4G capability. Other companies, including LG and Samsung, have previously sold smartwatches with inbuilt cellular capabilities, but battery life restrictions and other issues limited interest. Apple's ability in the past to generate new markets when others thought they were dead is legendary, commented Mr. Mostyn. for people like joggers, runners and cyclists who possibly want to do hardcore sports outdoors without carrying two devices. An LTE Apple Watch could be something of a blessing. The latest version of the watch's operating system, which will also be available to earlier models, will include new heart monitor functions. It will warn owners if their heart rate becomes elevated when they are not active or if its rhythm becomes irregular, to flag the possibility of disease. The 4G Apple Watch will cost $399, £300, and be released on 22 September. 4K Movies Apple also announced a fresh version of its TV set-top box, which now supports 4K video and high dynamic range (HDR) content. It added that it had struck a deal with several of the major movie studios to ensure that films in the higher resolution, richer color formats would not cost more than their high-definition (HD) equivalents. Users' existing iTunes movie libraries will also be upgraded without charge. HDR 4K movies have already been available to rent or buy from services including Amazon, but they tended to be sold at much higher prices than lower quality formats.